What's happening, everybody? I am going to record this one and upload it. I did just do a live, but it cut out so many times that ultimately the message that I was trying to communicate didn't come through very clearly. So I'm just going to do it again here on a recording, and this one will ultimately get uploaded to my podcast. So I titled this one Fight the Resistance. And there's a few things that I want to address on this. So obviously, you can see this hat right here. For those of you that don't know, this says Small Fringe Minority. And it's got our Canadian Prime Minister on there. And naturally you can think, well, okay, this is a rant video. Trevor's going to get on and just start complaining about all the restrictions and the mandates and just the insanity and the craziness that's going on in my home country. But that's not what this is about. The thought about fighting the resistance is a deep reflection, contemplation question of, does it serve us to actually fight the resistance? Or is this the opportunity to actually surrender? And then what does surrender actually mean? Does surrender mean, you lay down your swords and get killed? Does surrender mean you abide by the rules and the mandates and the restrictions and you just do whatever anybody else tells you to do? No, it's neither one of those things. But there are certain things in life that we do get to surrender to the reality of what they are. There is certain realities in this world where we can't just think it away or manifest it in. We have to actually make conscious choices and have committed, focused actions that move us in the direction that we want to go. And this is an example of those. A year ago, I was angry. I was defiant. I was just feeling everything so deeply. And I started speaking up about it. And most notably, one of the things that happened was our kids, which that's Logan right there. Our kids were in swimming lessons, and there was mandates put in that said that if you did not get the jab, you're not allowed in the building. So I actually watched our kids take swimming lessons for 8 weeks through a big glass window in like -10 weather. And I just remembered thinking at that time that this is insanity. There's people inside there that are sitting around the pool with masks on. There's people in the pool teaching the lessons without masks on. None of it made any sense. Yet there was lots of people that were just complying with all of it, saying well, if I want to live the life that I want to live, I got to do this, right? And I had to give up a lot back then in order to actually, I'm going to move before these kids bother me. Because as soon as they see me, they're going to get distracted and want daddy attention. So yeah, there was choices to be made, I had to ultimately suck it up and not go in the pool based on the threats that I might be, fined or kicked out, or God knows what else might have happened back then. I have no idea. I didn't fight the resistance. And eventually over time, I learned to surrender to it. And I learned to recognize that me trying to fight something that just literally made no sense to me, and also stay in that situation, was like the definition of insanity, So I could have stayed in Canada. I don't hate Canada. I've got all my family back in Canada. I love my country, but at the same time, I couldn't stand to live there anymore underneath all the rules and the restrictions and the mandates, and then the obvious things that I saw coming down the pipeline in addition to those things. Like the tax hikes, like the inflation, like all of these different things that are going on back there right now and continuing to get worse every single day. And now here I am in Costa Rica, and our kids are in swimming lessons in the pool, and nobody even talks about this stuff. Nobody even talks about it. And the other side of it too is that there's all kinds of data and reports coming out from very credible sources and scientists and doctors that are literally flipping the narrative from a year ago completely around and saying, oh, actually, we were wrong. Or, oh, actually, when we said that you should get this not only for yourself, but also to save your grandma because it's helping with the transmission, and then they find out that that's not true. Okay, now we're in a pickle, right? Because Well, what does a person do? Do you shame everybody that had the opinion that they did last year that said, like, you're a bad person if you don't do this? Of course not. We're flawed human beings. We make bad decisions. We make good decisions. We're going to make more of them as well. And at the end of the day, we have to have empathy and compassion and love for each other and know that this is how it is. But we can't force people. Oh, they're over there. But we can't force people to do anything outside of their will. Freedom of choice was ultimately the most important thing that I valued. And then, of course, freedom of speech as well. Me talking about this right now will get me either restricted, censored, or throttled on these social platforms. There's no doubt about it. I can look back on my platforms and see the dips that have happened since I've been talking about this. Now, even when the story is actually changing and it's proving that, like, oh, what I was saying actually wasn't wrong, that's not what the governments or the mainstream media want to leak. So they're going to stop us. It just is what it is. So what do? We show up with compassion and love and empathy. We feel good that we made the decisions that we did and we rode that storm out. That's another huge part of this, is like riding the storms. The minute that you get angry about something, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It just doesn't work like that. And yeah, there's literally no benefit to fighting the resistance unless you are pushed up against the wall and you are literally fighting for your life. But I had to recognize that the situation that I was in, I wasn't fighting for my life per se. Nobody was pinning me down on the ground and jabbing me. But I did have a choice. I had a choice on where I decided to go and where I decided to bring my family and who I decided to surround myself with. And quite frankly, it's the best decision that we ever made. So, fight the resistance. Not in the sense that you might think. Surrender? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean give up. Surrender just means accept what is. Know your values. Understand your vision for the life that you choose to live. And then go and create it. Don't let anybody else dictate how you choose to show up every single day. Not only in your physical reality, but especially here. Protect this. Make it strong. Surround yourself with other people that are also on this similar journey as you. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of The Trevor Turnbull Show. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please consider subscribing on my YouTube channel, as well as on your favorite podcast platform. So until next time, remember, today is a beautiful day of opportunity. Trust that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. So be grateful, be curious, and be brave.